അവസാനം പെരുമഴയിൽ പലയിടങ്ങളിൽ നടക്കുന്ന ദുരന്ത കാഴ്ചകളാണ്.
ശരി കോല കണ്ടെന്ന് ഏരിയ അവിടെ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു ഫാത്തിമ അതിനോട് വേഗം വരാൻ പറയാം.
ദിയ മ്യൂട്ട് ചെയ്യൂ. ദിയ
Hello, good evening all. Dr. Madhavan, കേൾക്കാമോ? ഞാൻ അന്നേരമേ ഒന്ന് ഹോസ്റ്റ് ആക്കാമേ സാറിന് പ്രസന്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ ഉള്ള സമയത്തെ അന്നേരത്തേക്ക് ഹോസ്റ്റ് ആക്കാം. ഓക്കെ, താങ്ക് യു. അപ്പൊ ജസ്റ്റ് ഒന്ന് അക്സെപ്റ്റ് ചെയ്താൽ മതി. ഹോസ്റ്റ് വരുമ്പോ അക്സെപ്റ്റ് കൊടുത്താൽ മതിയേ.
ഓക്കെ.
Jenny, could we start?
One second, sir.
യൂട്യൂബ് ലിങ്ക് ഇട്ടോളൂ കേട്ടോ ബോബി.
യൂട്യൂബ് ലൈവ് ആണ് സർ, സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്തു.
ഓക്കെ.
സർ സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്യാം നമുക്ക്.
പ്ലീസ്.
സർ സർ സോനുവിനോട് പറഞ്ഞോളൂ.
സോനു പ്ലീസ് സ്റ്റാർട്ട്. സോനു കേൾക്കാമോ? ഹലോ സോനു.
സോനു ഉണ്ട് സർ.
മ്യൂട്ട് ആണല്ലോ സോനു.
Hello,
Sonu,
sir.
could you hear me? Please start.
Okay.
Please start. Okay.
Sir, am I audible, sir?
Yes, audible.
In the world of academia, publishing your research in reputable journal is a key milestone. However, navigating the complexities of journal publications can be daunting for the beginners. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. To demystify the process, offering insights and practical advice to help you embark on your publishing journey with confidence, here, the KPGA Women's Wing is organizing this national webinar. Our esteemed speaker will guide you through the essential steps from manuscript preparation to submission and beyond. As you know, today we have gathered to dive deep into the fundamentals of journal publication, a beginner's guide. August gathering, my name is Sonu Bani, PhD Research Scholar from Amrita School of Pharmacy, and I'm honored to be your host of this esteemed evening. And on behalf of Kerala Pharmacy Graduates Association, KPGA Women's Wing, I extend a very warm welcome. All of you. Sorry, ma'am. I'm kindly reminding all the participants to mute your audio to maintain the decorum of our event. On behalf of the Kerala Pharmacy Graduates Association, KPGA Women's Wing, I extend a very warm welcome to all of you joining us from across the nation for this national webinar. Before we proceed, let's take a moment to express our gratitude and seek blessings through a prayer song. I take the pleasure to welcome Ms. Sharanya T.R., Assistant Professor, Sri Gokulam College of Pharmacy, Turapur, for the prayer song. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are.
अनवरतं तव नामम् अनुपममां मधुगीतम् अनुदिनमिन् करमुकुलम् अनुपतमङ्गये वार्ताम् अणयो चिन्मयरूपा अഴകാயின் നഗതായി അണയോ ചിന്മയരൂപാ അഴകാயின் നഗതായി അധിപതി പൂജിതനാഥ അഭയം തവക സ്നേഹം അധിപതി പൂജിതനാഥ അഭയം തവക സ്നേഹം അനവരതം തവ നാമം അനുപമമാം മധുഗീതം അനുദിനമിൻ കരമുകുളം അനുപതമങ്ങയെ വാഴ്ത്താം അനുപതമങ്ങയെ വാഴ്ത്താം അനുപതമങ്ങയെ വാഴ്ത്താം. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your melodious voice. To officially commence this webinar, I would like to invite Dr. Preja G. Pillai, Principal of Madai Scholars College, Trivandrum. Dr. Preja's dedication to education and her visionary leadership have been a guiding light for many. Her commitment to fostering academic excellence is truly inspiring. With much respect, I would like to invite Preja ma'am to deliver the welcome address. Over to you, ma'am.
Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are.
Thank you, Sonu. A very good evening to all. I welcome all the delegates, dignitaries, and all the participants to this webinar. Authors uses journal articles to disseminate the scientific knowledge. So it's a professional communication. On behalf of Women's Wing of KPGA, I welcome all the delegates, respected dignitaries, respected delegates, my dear academicians, my dear colleagues, and my dear participants. First of all, I would like to welcome our Vice President of KPGA and Chairperson of Women's Wing KPGA, Dr. Kala Madam. I welcome Kala Madam. Next, I would like to welcome our office bearers of KPGA, President of KPGA, P.K. Srikumar sir, and General Secretary of KPGA, Nasir sir, and Treasurer of KPGA, Sunil Kumar sir, to this function. Next, I would like to welcome Dr. Abhirama Bibi, who is going to share her good wishes for the success of this today's webinar. I welcome Dr. Abhirama Madam, Professor and HOD of Pharmacy Practice of Daleview College of Pharmacy. I welcome ma'am. Next, I would like to welcome my friend, Dr. Merlin NJ, who is the chair of today's webinar. I welcome Merlin Madam. Next, always academic success that depends upon research and publication. Publishing in journal, nowadays, it's not a big task because of the emergence of so many predatory journals. But publishing in a very good, reputed or impact journal is a big task. And also making more visible, making your article more visible among the researcher, or making the citation of your article, it's a very, very big task nowadays. So today we have with us an eminent researcher, eminent academician who is having 60 plus publications and 2000 more than 2000 plus citations on his articles, and his H index is 27, and he is the eminent researcher Dr. Madhavan Nambudiri G, Associate Professor, Department of Pharmacology, Manipal College of Pharmacy. I welcome Madhavan sir to today's webinar. Welcome, sir. Next, I would like to welcome our Joint Secretary of KPGA, as well as Vice Principal of AJ College of Pharmacy, Mrs. Sangeeta R. I welcome Sangeeta Madam. And I would like to welcome the Executive Member of KPGA, Mrs. Sonu Benny, Ms. Sonu Benny. I welcome Sonu Madam to this webinar. And on behalf of KPGA and Women's Wing, I welcome all the delegates, all the participants, all the students to today's webinar. I wish all the very best, and I wish a grand success, and I wish you all a fruitful evening or fruitful session ahead. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your lovely words. Next, I'm pleased to welcome Dr. Kala D, a pioneer in the field of pharmacy, whose work and leadership have had a profound impact on our community. Her tireless efforts to advance the field and her commitment to nurturing the future pharmacists make her an invaluable asset. With much happiness and respect, I would like to welcome Kala ma'am, Chairperson of KPGA Women's Wing, to deliver the presidential address. Welcome, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you, Sonu, for the nice words. Respected dignitaries, pharma professionals, friends, colleagues, and dear students. Warm good evening to one and all. Kerala Pharmacy Graduates Association has been dedicated to the upliftment of pharmacy profession. Pharma profession stands at the intersection of science, compassion, and service. Beyond our daily responsibilities, our association play a pivotal role in enhancing the profession through various initiatives. Through seminars, workshops, webinars like this, we facilitate the exchange of knowledge and expertise among our members. We believe in the principle of giving back, and thus we engage in charitable activities that aim to improve healthcare access and outcome in underserved communities. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to all members of our association whose unwavering support and dedication have propelled the Women's Wing of KPGA to move forward. Together, we will continue to make a difference, inspire future generation of pharmacists, and contribute to the health and well-being of society. Today, we are gathered to discuss the important aspects of journal publication. In this webinar, we will explore the intricacies of journal publication from the manuscript preparation to the peer review process. Our resource person, Dr. Madhavan Nambudiri, will share valuable insight and best practices to help you navigate the publishing landscape. Let us continue to inspire and support one another as we strive for excellence in pharma profession. Have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Now we are moving to the next session, where I would like to welcome Dr. Abhirama B.R., Professor and Head of Pharmacy Practice Department, Delview College of Pharmacy, Trivandrum. Dr. Abhirama's dedication to pharmacy practice and her role in shaping the future professionals is really commendable. With much happiness, I'm taking this opportunity to welcome Dr. Abhirama B.R. to propose the felicitation. Over to you, ma'am.
Is it audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Sonu. A very good morning to you all. A very good evening to you all. Most respected Dr. Kalam Madam, President of today's program, Chairperson of KPGA, most respected today's speaker, Dr. Madhavan Nambudiri, Associate Professor of Manipal College of Pharmaceutical Sciences. Other respected delegates, Dr. Sri Kumar sir, Dr. Sri Kumar sir, Sunil Kumar sir, respected Dr. Preja, Dr. Merlin Madam, Joint Secretary Ms. Sankita, Mrs. Sonu, other respected dignitaries, faculties, research scholars, and dear students. I am Dr. Abhirama, Professor and HOD of the Daleview College of Pharmacy and Research Center. I am absolutely delighted and honored to felicitate this program. Let me first begin by congratulating all members of KPGA for selecting this relevant topic, Fundamental of Journal Publication, Beginner's Guide, which would be beneficial for all faculties, research scholars, and also for students. Nowadays, the ultimate goal of most of young graduates are to go with the research works and pursuing PhD. We all are aware about the importance of research studies. Research work enhance the human knowledge, promote innovation, and thereby improving the humans' quality of life. Journal articles are the final outcome of all research works. Publishing research or review articles in reputable journals lend career advancement, professional development, or recognition, creating impact in society, credibility and trust, inspiration for future research works, and also one can establish themselves as expert in the particular field. Overall, this publishing article is a valuable experience for all academicians. However, this publication process still remains confusing to most research scholars, faculties, and students, especially final year students who are engaged with projects works. They don't know how to publish their already completed projects works. From my career experience, I understood that most of the students and few of faculties also, they are unaware about the terms, manuscripts, and articles exactly, and also about checking citations, in-text journals, searching abstracts, and importance of impact factors. They are also unaware about the scientific way of preparing manuscripts. So today we are very fortunate to have an excellent person as a speaker, Dr. Madhavan Nambudiri here. So an opportunity is opening for all of us to learn about all these things, like how to search articles, checking citation, analyzing impact factor of journals, etc. So let me conclude here, since we have to follow the next important session, clarify your doubts, share your ideas. So research publications, of course, it is a need to all academicians. Thank you all. Wish you all grand success, all the very best. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Now it's the time to introduce our distinguished speaker for the evening. For this, I would like to invite Dr. Merlin, Professor of Pharmacology at Felicitation College of Pharmacy, Trivandrum, who will be chairing the scientific session and introducing our speaker. Merlin ma'am is well regarded for her expertise and contributions to pharmacology. Her passion for teaching and research has inspired many students and the colleagues. She is a very good researcher who is having a good number of publications, and also she is the recipient of many research awards and research grants. Her main research areas are in neuropharmacology, cancer biology, also focusing on the herbal phytochemicals, and also computational modeling. With much respect, I'm inviting Merlin ma'am to chair the session and to introduce the speaker. Over to you, ma'am.
Thanks, Sonu. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are.
Yeah. Most respected KPGA Women's Wing Chairperson, Dr. Kala ma'am, Dr. Sri Kumar sir, Dr. Sunil sir, Dr. Preja Ji Pillai, Dr. Abhirama, Sangeeta ma'am, Sonu, good evening one and all. Now I am here to introduce the speaker, Dr. Madhavan Nambudriji. Dr. Madhavan Nambudriji is an associate professor at Manipal College of Pharmaceutical Sciences, Karnataka, India since April 2023. Previously, he served as an assistant professor in various capacities at the same institution from July 2010 to April 2023 and as a lecturer at the Educare Institute of Dental Sciences in Kerala from July 2009 to July 2010. Dr. Nambudri earned his PhD in Pharmaceutical Sciences from Manipal University with his thesis titled An Assessment of Function of Insulin in Reversing Memory Deficit in Models of Dementia in Rats. He holds an M.Pharm in Pharmacology from Government Medical College, Trivandrum, Kerala. He has presented his research on Alzheimer's disease, neuroinflammation, and neuroprotection at numerous international conferences across Japan, Singapore, Australia, Switzerland, Thailand, Malaysia, Dubai, and India. As a principal investigator, he has led several funded projects focusing on neuroinflammation, Alzheimer's disease, cannabinoid receptor agonist, and neurodegenerative disease mechanisms. Dr. Nambudri has guided multiple PhD students in research areas such as Alzheimer's disease, neuroinflammation, depression, and therapeutic interventions. With over 60 publications in high-impact journals, his research covers cognitive dysfunction and neuroprotective agents. He has received awards including the Investigator from Developing Country Award by Melvin Yar International Parkinson Disease Foundation and an Nagai Sakri Award by the Asian Federation for Pharmaceutical Sciences. Dr. Nambudri is a member of the Board of Studies in Studies for Pharmaceutical Sciences at Kerala University of Health Sciences and a panelist for PhD protocol presentations at Manipal Academy of Higher Education. He has co-authored book chapters on autophagy, anti-aging strategies, and nanotechnology-based delivery systems for neurological disorders. His research impact is highlighted by his 2052 citations and an H index of 27. On behalf of KPGA, I am much pleased to invite Dr. Madhavan Nambudriji to handle this session on Fundamentals of Journal Publication, a Beginner's Guide. With his extensive expertise, Dr. Nambudri is exceptionally qualified to guide beginners through the intricacies of academic publishing. His expertise and research contributions make him an ideal mentor for aspiring researchers and academics looking to navigate the world of journal publications. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Sir, I'll make you the host,
shall
sir. I'll make you the host, sir. Please accept the
Okay.
invitation.
Shall I share the slides?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Now, whether the slides are visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, good evening to one and all the faculties, researchers, students, research scholars, etc. So, I'm very much happy to present the topic which is very much relevant nowadays, that is the fundamentals of journal publication. Because nowadays the research arena has been very much vast, and it is very essential for the faculty as well as the students to publish the research work for the upliftment of science. that is associated with the research. So I'll quickly go through the sense. First of all, what we will come into our mind is that why we need to publish. One thing is that it is a useful advancement because academics and the theoretical knowledge is not only required in the sense the theoretical knowledge should be substantiated by the research activities as well. That is the reason why we do the research and the concepts that we develop in and the science that we bring into the field of, especially in our area, that is the pharmaceutical science, will actually bring flavor as well as new dimensions and the perspectives in our field. And not only that, because we need to have newer concepts and newer ideas, because when we look into the textbooks, etc., that will be giving an information which is a little bit older and into a and the world might have advanced in a drastic manner. So that's the reason why we need to have a constant reading habit with the newly published articles and new journals, which will give you an idea what is happening actually in our area. And as far as my area is considered, I'm a little bit more focused into neuroscience, especially into Alzheimer's disease, as well as into the pathophysiology associated with depression. And when we do a research activity, it is very essential that we have to disseminate that particular result that we have obtained from that research. Because, for example, as a pharmacologist, we are doing a kind of a preclinical research activities, especially sacrificing or taking into consideration several animals that has been used in the experiment. So we are doing a particular research in the animal. And if we are not publishing that particular result, we are doing a research in an animal model. And if we are not publishing that result, sometimes another person anywhere in the world may repeat this particular same experiment. We might have got a negative result. This particular drug is working or this particular drug is not working. If we don't disseminate that result, again and again, many people will be working in this particular same research field, getting the same results. That's one of the reasons why we may not be able to complete the entire process of a drug discovery process, which is a long-term aspect. So in that aspect, we need to put whatever result that we have got, might be a small result that we have achieved, that has to be disseminated, which is in the form of a publication, which will help the entire science. And also it is nowadays very important for the authors, institutions, and the colleagues as well, or the peer group that is involved as well, because many ranking systems, etc., are associated with nowadays with this publication. It helps in career enhancement. And also when we apply for several funding, ICMR or DST or DBT, they look into the publications done by the principal investigator so that they can understand the ability of the researcher. So in that case also the funding mechanism or the funders are very keen in looking at the quality or the qualification that is associated with the researcher in terms of publications. So I'll be discussing regarding very basic fundamentals that are associated with the publication, starting from a preparation of the manuscript and how this will be getting forward into the next schemes that are associated with the publication. So first is the types of research papers. So when you look into the research papers, there are different types of research papers, out of which the one is called the original research paper. So the original research paper, when I think there is a small disturbance that is associated. I think somebody's microphone is on.
Saluja, please mute.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. So one type of research paper is the original research paper. Original research paper means, for example, I had given a publication which is evaluating the role of N-acetyl L-tryptophan in the A-beta 142 induced neuroinflammation and cognitive decline in Alzheimer's disease. So here research work has been carried out. In the sense a compound is there. So our research team wanted to evaluate the role of this compound in a Alzheimer's disease model, that is A-beta 142 induced neuroinflammation. And this is called the original research paper. So the original research paper has got a particular format. I'll be discussing much more on this original research paper. This is to understand what do you mean by the original research paper. This is the normal work that we do in case of an MPharm project, PhD project, etc. The research that is carried out. So this is called the original research paper. Second one is called the reviews. Nowadays, a lot of importance has come to these papers, like review papers, reviews, systematic reviews, and in the reviews itself, there has been a lot of subdivisions as well, like systematic reviews, comprehensive reviews, etc. So this review article, as we think, it is not the compilation of the review of literature. So the review articles are actually, we have to, when you develop a review article, you have to collect the information in a specific topic, which is very, very much specific. For example, we have written a review article on astrocytic glutamatergic transmission. Glutamatergic transmission is a common topic. We have written we have focused on astrocytes, astrocytic glutamatergic transmission. So which happens specifically on astrocytes. So that's why a specific topic has to be selected in case of a review article, and we have to refer the articles, not very old articles, in the sense if we are developing 2020 for a review article, you have to look for from 2020 onwards the articles which has been shared from 2020 to 24, and it will be a forecast for the next 3-4 years. That is the idea of the review article. So what are the further developments that will happen in the next 3-4 years in this particular field? That should be forecasted in this review of articles, which are published in reputed journals. So some of the reviews are invited as well, because the editors will invite, they look into the qualifications of the authors, and then they invite for the reviews. So many journals has got that invited reviews, and they invite the authors and they develop the review article and then send it to the journal. In that case, that will go for the review processing. But however, the editor will be a little bit positive towards that particular article. So that is regarding the review articles, and systematic reviews are also a part of the review articles. And then the other categories are the case reports, short survey commentary, then editorials, that is editorial commentary, letter to editor, and then conference proceedings, because some of the conferences proceedings are also published sometimes as a full length article, or sometimes only abstracts only used to get published in Scopus or the Web of Science. So this is in general regarding original research articles, reviews, case reports, short survey, editorials, or conference proceedings. All these comes under the publications. Now coming into the headings and subheadings that are associated with a manuscript, I'll be discussing in detail regarding each headings. First is the title, abstract, and the keywords. This is very important part, title, abstract, and keywords, which contains the author names and affiliations, corresponding author. This has to be dealt very carefully because in between we may not be able to change the author name or affiliations without a particular reason. And the corresponding author was also very important. Corresponding author is the person who will be uploading the manuscript, and all the communications will be there with the corresponding author. Then the introduction, methods, results, discussion, conclusion, acknowledgement, conflict of interest, references, tables, figures, photographs. These are the headings and subheadings that are associated with a manuscript. I will be taking you through all these subheadings in detail. First is the title and the title page. So this title of the article, because when you submit the article into a journal, it will undergo a technical check. I will discuss that later. And then it will go into a handling editor or an editorial board member will be reviewing this paper. So that editorial board member or the editor, say the editor, may not go through the entire article. So that and the all the method section, discussion section, etc. The editor may not be able to go through. So what the editor will do is that editor will be focusing on the title of the article, whether that is very relevant, whether because different journals will have a different set of readers. So whether that the journal readers will have an affinity towards this particular manuscript, whether it is under the scope of that particular journal. So the title is very important. So the editor will look into the title of the article, as well as the editor will look into the abstract of the article. So title and abstract should be very strong. Then only the article will go into the next stage, that is the peer review processing. So the editor will looking into this particular title. Generally, the title may represent the aim. It is up to the corresponding author or the first author to develop the title. But however, it will be better to represent the aim or the conclusion. For example, this paper, this paper is an MPharm paper, and this paper's aim is to evaluate the impact of caffeic acid on aluminum chloride-induced dementia in rats. So we have removed that to evaluate, and the title of the paper is Impact of Caffeic Acid on Aluminum Chloride-Induced Dementia in Rats. That is the aim of that particular study. So you can put the aim of the study as the title. It is possible. In the sense that aim should reflect the entire paper. So the keywords that are included in this particular paper is caffeic acid, that is the compound, and aluminum chloride induced. That means the dementia is induced by aluminum chloride, and the experiment is done in rats. So it is very clear, the key, by looking at the keywords itself, it is very clear what is the aim of the study and what will be the implications of that particular study. When you come into the second one, it is actually not the aim of the study. It is the conclusion, that is, or the result of that particular study. That is, insulin blocks glutamate induced neurotoxicity in differentiated SHS5-5I neuronal cells. So a study has been conducted, and the result is that the insulin is able to block the glutamate induced neurotoxicity. That means the glutamatergic pathway. And this is not an animal study, it is in a cell line study. It is done in which a cell line, that is SHS5I neuronal cells. So it represents the conclusion, or the conclusion of that paper is that insulin blocks glutamate induced neurotoxicity. So that conclusion is given as the title. So the title page can be represented by aim or the conclusion or any other path-breaking results are there, that also can be given as a title. So this is an example. This is just to give you an example which is associated with the title and the title page. And title and title page. In the title and title page, the next part is regarding the authorship. Authorship, who can be the authors and who can be the non-authors. So authorship criteria or authorship has to be decided very carefully, because it may create a large amount of problems as well. So in that case, generally as a guide, we generally follow the principle as the guide will be the corresponding author, and the positions can be also be decided. Generally, we used to take a last position for the corresponding author, because that is the corresponding author. But even if corresponding author can take any position in this particular article, and generally we used to give the students as the first author, because first author and the corresponding author have got a greater weightage in terms of publication. So first author is generally the person who has worked on this. For example, in this paper, I was the PhD scholar, and the guide is assuming the corresponding. And sometimes not one student, two students or three students or two students have worked in a manner that we cannot distinguish who is the first author. Then the first author can be shared as well. So the first person as well as the second person can be shared. That is called a shared first author. So first author can be shared also. Or this of a author and the second author has given equal importance. That can be also given as a first author. So that is also possible. So generally, and the other authors, for example, co-guide or many people might have helped that particular study. So that can be given as the co-authors. And also there is a provision for co-corresponding author as well, because if some conflict is there as the corresponding author, more than one person has been assigned with that particular study, there is a chance for one more person to be as a corresponding author also. Generally, corresponding author and the first author is having a greater weightage, or they are the person who has been responsible for the entire paper that is associated with this particular research, who has supervised, who has gone through the first draft, and who has concepts has been developed, visualized, all these things. And there is actually a clear-cut guideline. ICMGA guidelines has been given, which is giving the roles and responsibilities of the authors, what are the roles and responsibilities of each author that are associated. As far as our university is considered, the first author is important and the corresponding author is the important. They are given the maximum weightage in the article. Then there are some practices that are associated, like a guest author that is to influence the editor, because sometimes if we give that author's name as a popular scientist name, etc., that may have a more to influence the editor, that so that the article will be accepted more fastly. So that it is not ethical. Best authorship is not ethical. It will influence the editor by giving some names which where the author has not been a part of that particular study. Second is a gift author, that is a HOI, HOD, or spouse, siblings, etc., who has not been associated with that particular research, or who has not seen the results of that particular research. That is called a gift author, which is very important that we need to look into these kind of authorship, because otherwise we may land up in large amount of problems that are associated with that particular paper. So we can afterwards we cannot tell that we are not gone through that research, we are not responsible, etc. Each author has got the responsibility, or if you are involved in that particular paper, each author is responsible for that particular results and the conclusions that has come from that particular paper. And the ghost authors, sometimes the authors will not know about the publication on their name. That is also a big problem nowadays, because we have come across some problems like that, in the sense that a student might be doing a research in the college under a guide, and sometimes the student will go from that college and then publish that article without the knowledge of the guide or the persons who are involved in that particular research, and their names are also included, and then it without the permission from that particular author. That also is a problem. In that cases also, the papers may be retracted. So before communicating a paper, all the authors has to be informed priorly and taken permission. That is the duty of the first author, especially corresponding author. Especially, it is the duty of the corresponding author to take the responsibility of informing all the authors regarding the communication of that particular paper, and whether their name could be involved in that or not. Sometimes we may tell that we don't include my name in that particular publication, because that much contribution might not have been given in that particular paper. So that is so it is very important to look into this particular authorship criteria. Now we'll come into the abstract. So first is the title and the authors that are associated with the paper, and then comes the abstract. As I earlier explained, the abstract should summarize the entire paper. It is very important that to go into a structured abstract, like background of the study, then the methods that has been used, then results, and the discussion part, as well as the conclusion. Discussion in the sense some brief explanations regarding the results that has been done. So, but it should summarize the entire paper, and it should focus on what was done and what was found out. We need not explain regarding the implications and the discussion, etc., regarding the paper. Very precisely, you need to explain what was done in that particular study, how it was done using these methods, and what is the results and the implications of the work. Word count is 200 to 250. So in 200 to 250 words, you have to explain regarding this entire research work, because when we search the papers for literature search, etc., most of the time we don't have that much of time to go through the entire paper. Instead, we go through the abstract to understand what is there. So whether it is required or whether we need to read the entire article or not is decided by the abstract. So that's the reason why abstract should be very precise, using the word count of around 200 to 250, and it should summarize the entire paper. As I told, the editorial decision is majorly looking into this particular abstract. Abstract is very important, and abstract has to be designed very properly. One of the another important aspect is regarding the English language check. If any typographical errors are there, that article very less chances are there for that article to be accepted, because that is considered as a big error in this field of science, because when you develop an article, that much of care you have to give into that manuscript, and if there is any kind of spelling mistake and the typographical errors, that article will not go into a next stage. Grammatical errors, nowadays computer programs are also available to check the grammar mistakes that are associated with the Grammarly software, which will look into the grammar mistakes that are connected with the English language. So this is also the editor will look into the title page, abstract, and also into some when you read the abstract itself, you can understand regarding the language, and there itself sometimes the article will be rejected if the article is not good. So this care has to be taken in this particular section to develop a good manuscript. Then comes the introduction. In the introduction part, when you, because the journal is very important, when you have selected a particular journal, and that journal is catering a particular readers, it is a neurosciences journal, means you need not again and again write that Alzheimer's disease is a neurodegenerative disorder, it is Alzheimer's disease prevalence is this much, and this is going to be a big problem in the future, etc., because sometimes that journal will be already a specific journal. What is you so the existing knowledge on you have to start with, you are going to discuss regarding neuroinflammation, you have to start with that particular neuroinflammation. Existing, you need not write there regarding that disease in a half page or etc. You have to directly go into that particular problem that is associated, that is the gaps that are existing knowledge and the gaps that are associated with the study. Then what is the hypothesis is very important. So that hypothesis has to be given in the introduction. And the very important aspect is that there should be a logical flow from paragraph to paragraph. One paragraph is there, then next paragraph you talk about something else. It should be connected together. So one paragraph should be connected with the next paragraph, and that paragraph should be connected with the next paragraph, and it should go in a flow. Generally, 1.5 page or 750 words is a better introduction. So introduction should not be too long, and it should be able to grab the reader's attention. So after abstract, mostly the introduction will be read, and when you read that introduction itself, you should be able to understand that, okay, well, this is the gaps in the knowledge, or this study is going to talk about this particular pathway or the gaps that are associated with that pathway, and this is going to be done in this particular study. So it should be able to grab the reader's attention. And then comes the materials and methods. Materials and methods, it has to be described. Description has to be given. And sometimes the methods will be well established methods. So you need not, sometimes in thesis, might have written a detailed methods regarding some experiments like oxidative stress, this catalysis state, superoxide dismutase state, or MDA. So you might have given a detailed explanation regarding that methods, how much ml you have taken, all these things you might have given. So if it is an established method, you need not give a complete methodology or complete description regarding the methods. Instead, you can give it as a reference, and sometimes briefly you can explain regarding that particular method. Very briefly, in 1 or 2 sentences, you can explain that particular method. If any major modifications are done in that method, that can be indicated, because sometimes we might have done some modifications in that particular method and then we have it. So in that case, that modifications can be explained in this particular materials and methods. However, what are the different kinds of experimental design as well as the different methods that you have followed has to be explained in this materials and methods, but not in a very detailed manner in terms of the public manuscript preparation that is associated. Then comes the results. In the results section, whenever you start with the result section, you need not do the discussion. So it is always in the result section. One important aspect is the development of figures and tables. a very good figure and a very good table. As soon as you see that particular figure and table, it is very well understood the efforts that has been given in that developing that particular manuscript will be very much visible in terms of the results. One of the section where the reviewers, that means that once the editor looks into the article, he will send it to the reviewers. In the peer review section, one of the major areas or the reviewers will be looking at this result section, because the graphs, because looking at the graph, it is very easy to understand the study, or what are the results that has been obtained, or what are the implications that are associated with this particular study is very much visible in the result section. So that's the reason why you need to develop the result section using the figures and the tables. So that will give a better representation of the results. But you should focus on what worked and not on what did not. In the sense, you have to explain. You need not go on explaining the results. You have to give a scientific explanation regarding why it did not work. So what worked and what did not has to be given in this particular result, but you need not discuss regarding that in the sense of giving a long explanation in the result section. You can tell that when significantly this LPS group has increased the TNF, serum TNF levels, and our drugs that are used, that is the caffeic acid, could not reduce the serum TNF alpha level. Even though we can tell that there is a trend in that, but that trend is not sufficient, because even if it is not statistically significant, you cannot claim that that is reducing the serum TNF alpha, or significantly reducing. You cannot tell that particular term. So it should summarize the results. So the result section should be represented by figures and the table. So then coming into the discussion section. Discussion section, you need not repeat the results. So in the result section, you have already given what are the things that you have obtained in that particular study. So again, you need not repeat it. Many of the times, the manuscripts that are coming has this particular mistake of repeating the results again. So you need not repeat that results again, but you have to briefly explain what did you got, and especially you have to focus on what do the results mean, what does it implicate, why this serum or TNF alpha level has been increased, why LPS caused TNF alpha level, how does that happen, and how the drug was able to ameliorate, or the drug was able to decrease the effect of the LPS. Why are they important, and how do they fit with the existing knowledge? So that has to be explained, and especially the discussion should focus on the results that you have obtained and not the other people's results. So in the sense, in some literature this is there, some, so it should not go on and on into a piece of literature review. So you should be very focused in the what you have obtained, and how you are going to explain that with the existing literature and some alternative explanation. And also it is very important to acknowledge the errors and the limitations. So sometimes some limitations will be there that is associated with this particular study, that the limitations also has to be explained. For example, this article, there are some limitations of the study, and these limitations also has been addressed in the discussion section. That is, limitations of this study includes lack of data on inflammatory apoptotic markers. So we are also explaining regarding this limitation, and whenever you refer that article, when these limitations are there, and the conclusion section will give you an idea regarding an upcoming research that can be planned from that particular paper. So we are telling that we have done this much of study, and anybody can take this study into a next level. In the sense, in the conclusion, we have explained regarding future neuroimaging studies in anatomically distinct region associated with learning and memory are warranted to confirm our hypothesis. So this will give you an idea, or this will give the readers an idea that what can be done after this particular paper. These are the results that we have published, and this is the discussion. These are the limitations, and also these are the conclusion and our future perspective. So anybody in the world who read this paper can take up this particular research into the next level. So this is regarding this particular aspect. And so this completes the entire section that are associated with the journal publication, starting from the title page, introduction, then materials and methods, then results, discussion, conclusion. And then when you come, some doubts that arise into the researchers is that whether we can publish negative results, because always you publish this particular drug is beneficial, or this particular drug can block, or this drugs can have a beneficial effect, ameliorates, or this weakens that pathophysiology, etc. There is always a scope for negative results. So when negative results are looked into, so this is an example for an article that we have published. In the sense, we have done a study on aluminum chloride induced dementia in rats, and insulin was given, and insulin did not produce any effect. But that is also a result, so that that result will be beneficial, because the insulin did not produce any effect on the memory is also a valid outcome that is associated with that particular study. So negative results also can be published. There is no point, there is nothing like only beneficial effects can be published. Negative results also can be published in the article. This is an example for that particular article. And another important aspect regarding the publication is plagiarism check. Journals are very strict about copying the content. So all the journals has got has got their own machinery to check the plagiarism. There is a technical check. For example, some of the students will send the article to us. Then within 5 minutes, because our university has got a subscription on this particular Turnitin software, and within 5 minutes it will give a report like this. The sense 85% is plagiarized, or there is a plagiarism that is associated with that. So similarly, your manuscript also should be checked for plagiarism. Rejection. So the in case of journals, it is sometimes 15%, sometimes 10%. So it is better that it should not have more than 10% similarity. So always you should run it in a software. In a plagiarism check should be done, and then it should be looked for similarity index. It is not ideal to have a similarity index of above 10%. So all the articles that we publish, we look into this particular plagiarism. We try reduce the plagiarism to less than 10%. Otherwise, it is within 5 minutes the journal can identify the plagiarism by the software, and as soon as then it will not even go to the editor. It will be rejected at that particular technical check itself. It will be rejected. So it is very important to do the plagiarism check of the article. Then the next one is how to select a journal for a paper. So you have a publication, manuscript is there. So next thing is that how do you select a journal for that particular paper? So because when you have that manuscript, it is very important that it should go into a suitable journal. Because selecting a journal which is not into the aim and scope of that article will result in rejection. Not only that, this article acceptance and this entire process is very lengthy. So when you submit the article and the article is rejected by the editor, it is fine, because sometimes the results will be very quick. So within 1 week, the article will be rejected. You can look for the another journal. But in some cases, it will go for the review. It will take 2 to 3 months. And then the article will get rejected, sometimes more than that. That is again, then you have to look for another journal. So that's the reason why. So by that time, around 3-4 months or even more than that will be gone. So that's the reason why it is very important that you have to spend the time on selecting a suitable journal. Sometimes it will go for review. That is again dangerous in the sense that if the article is rejected, because the time will go. But if the comments are there, you can work on that comment and then you can revise that. But once it is rejected, you may not have an option to submit to the particular same journal. So one traditional method is follow the paper that you have referred for the introduction, etc. You might have followed a particular paper. So that paper is published in a particular journal. So go for that suitable journal, that is, which has been referred for the introduction part, development, etc. You might have referred few papers. These papers is published in this journal. So go for, so shortlist that particular journal and follow that particular paper, follow that journal for the publication. However, read the aim and the scope of the journal. It is very important. Then the next is whether the journal is indexed, because the scientific quality of the journal, of these indexed journals, because there are several databases which is looking at the scientific quality of this particular journal. There may be some exceptions might be there, but however, we have to follow that particular indexing of the journal. So in that case, there are some databases which are called PubMed, Scopus, Embase, etc. are the databases. Here we follow Scopus as the database. Some institutions follow PubMed as the database. So PubMed, Scopus, the Web of Science. So these are all, PubMed and Scopus are the databases that are associated with which index the journal. There are some processes that are associated with indexing of the journals with Scopus or the PubMed. So it is to ensure the scientific quality, that but they don't look into the each and every one publications, etc. Especially it is associated with the journal, whether that journal has got some quality, some processes are there, whether the peer reviewing is there, some processes are involved in that. So that is looked into by this PubMed as well as the Scopus. So it is better to select indexed journal than the non-indexed journal. So indexing is important. And the next important aspect is regarding the impact factor. Nowadays, it is not very necessary that impact factor is, but these are all some yardsticks which are made to look into a quality of that particular journal. There will be some exceptions. There are a lot of contradictions regarding these impact factor index, etc. However, journal impact factor is also an important method in the selection of the journals. So when you look into the databases like Scopus, it has got this many sources are there. Then Thomson Reuters Web of Sciences has got around 12,000 journals are indexed in that particular database. So when you look into this Scopus, you will get like this, and where you can look into the document search, then the author search, then affiliation search, and also you can compare the journals as well in this Scopus. However, the Scopus will not give any impact factor that is associated. Impact factor is given by the Web of Science, especially journal citation reports. So impact factor is associated with so each year journal citation reports are given. Journal citation report is given, JCR given. And in that, the impact factor will be given. Each journal, when you look into any journals, for example, European Journal of Pharmacology or Pharmaceutical Sciences, European Journal of Pharmaceutical Sciences, Molecular Neurobiology, any journal's home page, when you open it, most of the journals will give their impact factor as well. But however, nowadays, the quartiles are also coming into the action, in the sense our university does not consider impact factor. instead they consider Q1, Q2, Q3 quartiles that are associated with that journal. That is connected with Scopus. Our Scopus is giving the site score, and according to the site score, the quartiles Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 journals. Journals are divided into 4 different quartiles. That is, Q1 journals are there. That is, top 25% is Q1. Then next category is Q2. That is 50 to 75 is Q2. Then 25 to 50 is Q3, and 0 to 25 is called Q4. So like that, Scopus divides the journals not according to the impact factor, according to the quartiles. That is called Q1 site score. So according to the site score, it is given quartile. So that is because different fields will have variability in impact factor, because some areas will have high impact factor and some areas will have a lower impact. So it is not good to distinguish in terms of impact factor. That's why the quartile system has been implemented by Scopus data. Whereas Web of Science uses journal citation report, and the journal citation report gives there are large amount of categories are there. In that one category is our category is pharmacology and pharmacy, and in the pharmacology and pharmacy, it will give the journal impact factor as well as the quartile. So the impact factor is this much. So for this particular journal, so pharmacological reviews is a journal which is having an impact factor of 19.3. So this is given by, earlier it was Thomson Reuters, now it is Clarivate is giving this journal citation report. So journal citation report is he gives the impact factor. So impact factor is now 2024 journals are having the impact factor of 2023. So 2023 journal impact factor is released in 2024. So it is not that 2024 journal impact factor. 2024 the journals has got an impact factor. That impact factor is 2023 journal impact factor. I'll explain that. So how is this impact factor is calculated? So when we look into the impact factor, it is a matrix which is associated with citation. So a journal, so as I told, the impact factor is associated, which is given this year, 2024, is the impact factor which is associated with 2023. So that means that in 2023, how many citations has been received by the articles which are published in 2021 and 22? I'll explain that. So a journal has published in 2021 72 articles, 2022 117 articles. So that means that articles that are published and that has come in the database is 72 in 2021, and 2022 117. That is totally is 189. Denominator is 189. This 189 articles, how much citations are received by 2021 published article and 2022 published article in the entire year of 2023? In the entire year of 2023, these 189 articles has received how many citations? The total number of citations that is received by this journal is 936. So 936 by 189, that is equal to 5 is the impact factor of that particular journal. So the journal's impact factor is 5, which is calculated based upon this calculation. So 21, 22, how many articles are published and how much citations these articles has received in the year 2023. So in 2025, the impact factor of 24 will come. In the sense, the number of citable items in 2022 and 23 and the citations in 2024. So 2 years. The 2 year is taken, 22 to 2021 and 22 is taken as the measure in 2023 regarding the citation. This is a one criteria of the impact factor that is associated. There is also a 5-year journal impact factor also, in the sense 5 years are taken into consideration, 2010, 11, 12, 13, 14, and that will come as the denominator. And these 5 years articles has received how many citations in 2015, and that will give a calculation, and that is called 5-year journal impact factor. So there is, so the general term in journal impact factor means 2 year, and sometimes it will also given the 5-year journal impact factor as well. So there are different subject categories are there associated, and these categories will have a separate impact factor. For example, pharmacology and pharmacy is having a median impact factor of around 2 to 2.5, and cell biology is having a better, greater median impact factor as per the subject category. So as per the subject category, the median impact factor also will change in that particular aspect. Another important aspect that you need to look into when you publish articles is to be very careful regarding the predatory journals and the list of predatory journals that are associated, because publishing in predatory journals is a very big problem, and the reputation will be affected by publishing the article in the predatory journal. So you need to look into these particular predatory journals. Are very easy to identify because they don't follow a code of conduct for journal publishers. So there is they will normally invite or to publish, and a charge will be associated with that, and as soon as that paper will be published, and it will not go for any kind of review, etc., and that will follow a poor journal and standard practices, which is unethical. So predatory journals should not be looked into when you develop a research career, because even if you don't have any publication, it is okay that publications are not there. But when you have publications in predatory journals, it is very easy to identify, because when you go for a PhD position or any career enhancement, etc., when you submit to the CV, it is very easy to identify that this is a particular predatory journal, because by the name itself, we will be able to identify that particular journal is a predatory journal. And if it is not Scopus index, or if this kind of factors has not been looked into, it will not be very ideal to publish your good results in that particular journal. Better than that, it is good that if you don't publish that results, it's fine, but it is not good that if you publish in predatory journals, that will actually ruin the entire research career. If you have published some 2-3 papers in reputed journals, and when this predatory journal 1 or 2 publication comes, that will entirely reduce your entire standards of publications. So one of the another aspect is the other guideline that has to be looked into when you look into the manuscript. After the manuscript is prepared and after the journal is selected, you need to look into the other guideline. It is available in the web page link, and then also it will give the recommendations, etc., that is associated with that particular publication, whether you have followed that publication ethics, etc., has to be looked into regarding the other guidelines that is associated. Now, quickly I'll go through the life cycle of the manuscript. When you submit, there are 3 different people, or the 3 things are associated with this life cycle of the manuscript. One is author, second is the editor and the editorial board, and the reviewer. These are the 3 sets of people who are involved in this particular manuscript generally. So when an author is looked into, start with the submission of the manuscript, and when the manuscript is submitted, it will go into the editor. So as I told, there is a technical check that is associated, plagiarism, grammar check, etc. is done, and also reference cross-checking is also done. So that is the basic, whether basic requirement has been fulfilled. This will be looked by the editorial board and the editor, and then it will be asked for a resubmission. If any of these particular things has not been followed, then they will ask for the resubmission, and then if it has not been fulfilling the basic requirement, it will be rejected. If it is fulfilling all the things that are associated and the editor is happy with that particular article or the manuscript, that article will be assigned for a particular review. So a reviewing process is there. The journal will have a set of reviewers and the paper will go into a peer review mode. And the reviewer will take time, sometimes 1 or 2 months will be taken, and the reviewer will give some recommendations. So sometimes the article, some revisions will be there associated with that article. They will give some comments that are associated. And the editor again, it will come back to the editor. Reviewer will not be in touch with the author. So the reviewer will give the recommendations. There will be sometimes 2 reviewers, sometimes 3, sometimes 4. So all these recommendations will come into the editor, and the editor will again decide whether to reject the article or to go ahead with this particular article. So a decision will be taken regarding this article, and this decision, or sometimes it will be accepted as such, or sometimes it will be rejected, and majorly it requires a revision. So it will come back again to the author for revision. So the author will again revise the manuscript, and the entire that is called a revised manuscript. So the revised manuscript will be submitted back, and then again it will go to the editor. Sometimes the editor will send again to the reviewer. Sometimes the editor itself will take a decision. It depends upon the journal. Sometimes they will submit to the reviewer, and the reviewer will tell that this article can be accepted. So like that, the article goes through these all different stages that is associated with this particular manuscript. So this is the life cycle of the manuscript that is associated. And once the manuscript is accepted, then the manuscript can be traced, or the accepted manuscript can be traced, and it will be, or a galley proof will be given to the author, especially corresponding author. And this has to be submitted very quickly, because galley proof, once the galley proof is given, this galley proof has to be returned back to the journal within 48 hours. Only maximum they give 48 hours for correction. But however, it is flexible, but you cannot take long time. Some important aspects are there. You can always request the editor or the or journal to extend the time. So not generally 2 days is given, and there you can do some kind of a text correction. So you cannot change the results, or you cannot do anything on that particular manuscript much, but some grammatical mistakes, some text corrections you have to make, that all things can be made in the galley proof. So generally author names cannot be modified in that accepted manuscript. If any such things are there, it requires a permission that has to be taken from the editor. So it will delay again the entire processing of the manuscript, and then the article will go into the in-press article mode. So this is the general procedure that is followed in case of the manuscript after the acceptance of that particular manuscript. So these are the important aspects that we need to follow when we are publishing an article, and then you need to look into these particular aspects in a very nutshell manner. I have tried to explain regarding these aspects which are associated with the journal publication, starting from drafting the manuscript and the selection of the journal impact factor. I have tried to touch upon several aspects that are associated with the journal publication. And if any doubts are there, I'll be free to answer. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We have some questions from the audience.
Ah.
What about the role of various AI tools in the manuscript preparation? Start from drawing tools to create attractive graphical abstracts and other figures to ChatGPT and other platforms to generate the content. To what extent we can make use of them in an ethical way?
Yeah, and because nowadays the artificial intelligence tools has been increased a lot. So we can use that. Till now, there is no no journal tells that you should not use the artificial intelligence in terms of developing the article, etc. You can use the artificial intelligence, but however, because especially Elsevier journals nowadays tells that you need to declare what are the different artificial tools that has been used while developing that particular paper. And also in case of diagrams, there are several biorender is one of the biorender can be used for developing figures, etc. But if you use that biorender, you have to give that which is the version that you have used, because otherwise it will create a copyright problem that is associated with. So if you are using that particular biorender, you have to give the that you have to give in the article that you have used biorender this particular version for the publication, because biorender also will look into that and they will also write to the journal if that is not a licensed version, etc. GraphPad Prism also, that is also another one. And if there is no, it is not a authorized one, it will also create a problem to that particular paper. So in that case, it has to be used very judiciously, but it can be used. There is no harm in using that, but it has to be used in a judicious manner.
Thank you, sir. Next question. Recently, I have seen an AI-generated article in Elsevier Journal. Please share your comments.
Yeah, so that's what earlier I told, because all the things cannot be developed using the artificial intelligence. So that's why, because as explained earlier, for example, there are softwares also which has been developed, which is picking up now this plagiarism software, as I explained, the Turnitin is the software that is used. That Turnitin will give the percentage of artificial intelligence which has been used in this particular article also. So 19% AI tools has been used, or 20% AI tools has been used. It can be also identified very easily. So in that case, it is not ideal to use the entire article to be developed as and using the AI tools. But because concept and visualization of the article, you can go through the guidelines that are associated with the authorship. Then it will be very clear, because there are a set of things that has been given in the authorship details, like concept, visualization, then writing the draft, then analyzing the result. Each set has been given, so that duties has to be performed. So you can use the AI, but all these things cannot be done using the AI.
Thank you, sir. Next question is how to check the plagiarism for figures.
Plagiarism for figures, I'm not very sure regarding the check. What are the different methods to check? But there are different. For example, Western blot images. So when Western blot images are used, or the figures are used, there is a site which is called Puppeteer. Puppeteer. So Puppeteer is a website in which there are people who are picking up the Western blot data images which has been used. So sometimes the control group has been used in several papers. So one paper will have the same control data. Then that same control data will be used in another paper. So 2-3 papers will have that same thing. That can be that is picked up by some tools are there to measure that particular one. I'm not very sure regarding which are the tools, but in that journal, in that website, they will bring into that notice, and then if it is very genuine, and then the article will be retracted by the journal.
Thank you, sir. Next two questions, I hope you can clear. How can you know the fake journals? What is ISSN? And nowadays, certain journals give acceptance to most of the article without correctly reviewing it. Do you agree with this?
Because that's what I told in the last areas, that regarding the predatory journals as well as the publications which are coming in without having a proper review process. So that's the reason why I have discussed regarding the indexing, which is associated with Scopus or PubMed, etc. and also regarding the journal impact factor that is associated, or quartiles that are connected with. So these journals will not accept the articles as such, or the articles will not be accepted very fastly. It will undergo a proper reviewing process. So since so we are working in this particular field of neurosciences, we know that these a set of journals are there. These journals are the one which we refer for the reading or developing the new concepts, etc. So we try to publish in that particular articles rather than taking a shortcut which are associated with giving some article processing charge, etc. So there are some other aspects like open access, etc. That is a different one. That is not associated with the reviewing process. However, reviewing process is important, and the integrity of this research is important, because when we are developing a research career, very easily you can understand whether this article is published in a reputed journal or not.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions?
Yeah. Hello.
Yes.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Good evening. And at the outset, my name is Unnikrishna Panikar. I am really an octogenarian among this participants group. And Dr. Nambudiri, hello.
Yes, sir. Carry on, sir.
First of all, let me congratulate you for your excellent presentation. And had I missed this, it would have been a great loss for me. At this age, I am witnessing from a very young man the very best of how best a journal can be published, which is very useful for the younger generation. Now, let me put one or two questions which I have felt while attending this your talk. I mean, first question is, you already told that the earliest you have to publish whatever you research you do in your research. Okay. Now my question is, can you publish? Can you patent your work before you publish it? Suppose you have made a very good result, and there is something which the public is going to benefit by your work. So can you patent your either the result or the procedure or the methodology? Can you patent it? One question. First question, and if that is possible, can you include that patent matter of patent you have obtained in your publication?
Yes, sir. It's a valid question, because two things are there. Because one, when we do a research, so one thing is that if for example, it is a chemical or you have synthesized a particular compound, and if you publish that results, then you may not be able to patent that. So in the sense that results are already is available, so you cannot patent that particular thing if it is published. But however, you can go for a filing of a patent, and once the patent is filed with that number, you will be able to publish. But however, it is better that if a compound or something, if you wanted to patent, it is ideal not to publish that particular data. So if we are intending into a patent aspect, etc. Otherwise, you can file that patent, and the patent number will be given. And once the patent number is there, then you can publish it as well. But ideally, if it is a compound or a particular delivery system, etc., it is better not to publish it. It is better to patent it if you are going for a patent.
So this, for the information of the audience as well, I am telling that the largest number of patents has been obtained by one alumni of CPS Trivandrum, I think, who passed away recently, and he is none other than Dr. Muhammad Majid.
Yes.
Who is,
yes.
Okay, he has more than 500 patents in his name. Okay. Now, my second question is regarding how long you can keep your research or your research work intact without publishing.
It depends, sir.
You already said it. Pardon. Yeah.
Carry on.
No, you told that it has to be published at the earliest. But suppose my work is not finished, it goes beyond, the expected time. So how long you can keep your research work without publishing the results and your findings?
Thank you, sir.
It's a
That
very
is a
confusing
yeah,
question.
yeah. That is a valid question because when you develop a concept or when we are developing a particular concept, at the same time, any other people will be thinking about this particular concept as well. For example, we have published an article on insulin in glutamate-induced toxicity. But at the same time, somebody from US or from that lab also will be thinking about that area. We don't know. And when it comes into a publication aspect, by the time when you publish the article, sometimes already somebody might have published that particular article. Sometimes you might have started the study much earlier. And because 5 years PhD when you're doing, you might have started that study in 5 years earlier. And when you come to know that into after 2000, that 5 years is over, you keep that particular data and try to publish in next 2 years, you will come to know that that article or a similar kind of a study has been already published. So, but you have already actually started that. So that's the reason why it is better to publish the article or better to publish that result very, very quickly as you get to that particular, as you complete the study. Ideally, once you complete the study and once you complete the presentation, etc., it is better to publish as early as possible. However, if something or you wanted to extend that study into doing some more activities on that, etc., you can keep it like that. Yes.
Oh, that's
Then you
very
can
good.
do extension of that and then you can publish. That is also possible. That is also fine.
Now the last and the third question is, who is doing the scoring on your journal's publications? You said about ScoreX, no? Who is doing the scoring work and how do you rate these journals and who is doing that work?
Scoring in the sense, the impact factor.
Yeah, impact factor.
Impact
Who,
factor.
any authority, general authority is there who is doing that?
Yeah, because ideally the impact factor concept has come not for the not for deciding not for the actually for the authors. It has come for actually for the librarians to rate which are the journals that has to be subscribed. So this journal impact factor is journal impact factor is given by journal citation reports, and Clarivate has taken up now the Clarivate is the agency which is doing this journal impact factor, and they are developing this journal impact factor which is based upon citations that is associated with that. There are some problems associated with the impact factor also, because nothing is free from kind of issues that are associated. However, for the journal publication aspect for the authors to look into, it will be easier if the journal has got an impact factor. Or nowadays, as I explained regarding quartiles, Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 quartiles. Quartiles are also a measure which is associated with, all are associated with citations that are received by that particular journal.
Okay. Now, last one suggestion. Why don't you publish this work? Why don't you publish your talk in some journals?
No, that we'll see, sir. Thank you, sir, for that suggestion.
Okay. Yes, just think of that, because it will also be useful to the students.
Okay, sir. Yes.
Thank you very much, Dr.
Thank you.
Nambudiri. Like to meet you at some point of time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions? So let's find up. Respected participants of this webinar, as we come to end this session, we have delved into the various types of research papers, each serving a unique purpose in the scientific community. We have explored the meticulous process of preparing a manuscript, emphasizing the importance of clarity, structure, and adherence to journal guidelines. Moreover, the pathway to publication is more than just submitting the journal. This journey is not just about getting our work published. It is about contributing valuable knowledge to our fields and advancing the collective understanding. Let's remember that each step, from choosing the right type of paper to navigating the publication process, requires dedication and precision. The knowledge we have shared today aims to equip us better for these challenges, ensuring our research not only reaches the desired audience but also stands the test of scientific scrutiny. I'd like to extend a special thanks to Dr. Madhavan Namboodiriji for his insightful presentation and invaluable contributions to our understanding of this complex process. His expertise and guidance have enriched our session immensely. Thank you all for your attention and active participation. Let's continue to strive for excellence in our research endeavors and support one another in the pursuit of scientific process. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you all.
Sonu,
Sonu?
Hello, sir. Am I audible?
Yeah. Audible. Please.
Thank you so much, Dr. Madhavan, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so
Sonu?
much for your valuable session, an informative and engaging session. We are deeply grateful for your time and the wealth of knowledge that you have shared with us today. As a token of gratitude and affection, KPGA Women's Wing is proudly would like to present a certificate for you, sir. And we
Thank
would
you.
like to thank Merlin ma'am for the effective handling of the session. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, Sonu.
Dear participant, now we are sharing the link for availing e-certificate for your valuable participation in the chat box. So glad to mention that we are having an overwhelming response from our budding researchers, our student community throughout the session. Our virtual platform was out of capacity as we are having so many participants from the very beginning till now. And also there was a good participation in the YouTube sessions as well. So dear participants, utilize the opportunity and make benefits out of what you gain from here today. To conclude this enriching event, now I would like to invite Sangeeta ma'am, Joint Secretary of KPGA and Vice Principal of AJ College of Pharmacy, Trivandrum. Ma'am's unwavering commitment to the pharmacy profession and her efforts in organizing this event are truly commendable. So, with much happiness and respect, I would like to invite Sangeeta ma'am to propose the vote of thanks. Over to you, ma'am.
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are.
Sangeeta.
Webinar, I think, post vote of thanks on behalf of organizing committee of KPGA Women's League. Now let me move to the duty entrusted to me. First and foremost, I extend my deepest gratitude to our chairperson of KPGA Women, Dr. Kaladi, to organize a program with meticulous planning. Next, I extend my sincere gratitude and heartfelt thanks to our eminent speaker, Dr. Madhavan Namboodiriji, Associate Professor of Manipal College of Pharmaceutical Sciences. Sir, your presentation for the researchers, including role of AI tools. I would like to thank Dr. Merlin, Professor and HOD, Department of Pharmacology, Felicitation College of Pharmacy, who chaired the function. Next, I express my sincere gratitude to Dr. Abhirama, Professor and HOD, Department of Felicitation. Next, I would like to express my thanks Dr. Preja Pillai, Principal, Ma Dioscorus College of Pharmacy, who welcomed the gathering. Let me take a moment to thank Ms. Sonu Benny, who is an able anchor, both in Zoom and YouTube, students, faculties, KPGA President, Secretary, Treasurer, other KPGA members, and all pharma professionals for the cooperation in making this webinar an impactful experience. Once again, thank you. Thank you, on and all.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I would like to thank you everyone once again on behalf of KPGA Women's Wing for your active participation and valuable support throughout the session. Your presence and participation have made this evening truly special. We hope you found the session valuable and insightful. As we conclude, let us carry forward the knowledge and the inspiration we have gained today. Remember, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. So, ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to the end of the webinar. And at this moment, let's stand for National Anthem. Sorry to interrupt, ma'am. The audio this is not audible, ma'am.
Not audible.
विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे जनगण.
Thank you, everyone. Wishing you all a great time ahead until we meet again. Stay safe and take care. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Madhavan Nambudiri.
Thank you, sir.
Jenny, Sonu, Nasir.
Thank you, Madhavan. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Very
Thank
good
you, sir.
presentation. Very
Madeline.
highly informative also.
Thank you, ma'am.
Madeline, Abhirama.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Ricky.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
You all. Good night. Good night.